These rocky shores where I call home, where my heart longs to be whenever I roam. It's these rocky shores, it's where I long to be. Yes, it's these rocky shores, they're home to me.
Whenever I leave here, it hurts me so. With tears in my eyes, oh, I hate to go. There ain't no work, and the kids need new clothes. The bills need paying, so I must go.
These rocky shores where I call home, where my heart longs to be whenever I roam. Yes, these rocky shores, it's where I long to be. Yes, these rocky shores, they're home to me.
I think to myself, where did it all go? The life I once had on the ocean's gentle road. My tears in my eyes and my head in my hands, away from my family, I hope they understand.
That is these rocky shores where I call home, it's where my heart longs to be whenever I roam. Yes, these rocky shores where I long to be. Yes, these rocky shores, they're home to me. Yes, these rocky shores, they're home to me.
Good evening and welcome to This Week in Review. Tonight's stories include Community Committee formed to meet with Sea Freeze, Volunteer Appreciation Ceremony held at the Calder Healthcare Centre, Bay St. George Youth Action Team presents skits at St. John Central High, Post Tags projects got underway on Monday. These stories plus community events, BBS Playbill, Off the Rack, and more coming up after this.
The little things you do that you think are small and few are the things that mean the most to me. So just keep giving whatever you're giving, 'cause even when you're giving just a little,
if you're doing just a little, you're helping a lot.
it helps a lot.
From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
It helps a lot.
It was a welcome sight this past week to see more people than usual heading off to work, many for the first time since 1992. The sides of the community's outdoor hockey rink were all removed by Tuesday. The 30 workers employed on this project are busy framing up to re-pour the footers around the base of the hockey rink. The floor of the rink will be resurfaced and new sides will be constructed. Work is also being done on the building adjacent to the rink which houses the dressing room. When this project is completed in 14 weeks, the community's minor hockey league will have a new outdoor rink to look forward to play on this coming winter. "21 local residents have also been employed to upgrade the community's cross-country ski trails so they may also be used as walking trails in the summertime. In some areas of the trails, workers have to carry gravel and building materials several kilometers to carry out work on different. The third project will see the fence around the community softball field being replaced, new dugouts being constructed, the brush is being cleared around the outside of the field, and a playground area and bonfire area are being developed adjacent to the ball field. This project will employ 14 people for 14 weeks. The Bay St. George Youth Action Committee was in Burgeo on Tuesday to present skits about issues affecting youth to the students at St. John Central High.
My name is Mike Dawson. I'm with the RCMP out of Stevensville. I'm the community policing officer. A year ago, we looked at putting in a project involving youth. What you're about to see has absolutely nothing to do with me except that I gain all the good vibes that come out of things that happen here. These people have designed and have been pushing these skits all over the whole school district. Port-aux-Basques, Cape St. George, all over the whole area. There are issues that they've been told are issues of interest to young people, to the high school population. So I ask you to be very quiet. They're going to go through a whole series of skits, and we don't have any special rooms, so we're just make allowances as to how they will go. So just keep your attention, and we'll see what happens after that.
The first play that they show you is all about alcohol and drug abuse. And it's a typical high school on a Friday. The teenagers are bored, and they want to know what they can do on a Friday night. And that's what they're at right now.
Hey guys, what's up with Golden Night?
Hey Alice, can you see your parents going tonight?
Yeah, my parents are going out. We can try to my house for a party.
Sounds good to me. How about you guys?
Ready?
Yes, ma'am. Let's get on a good tear. All right, Ellen, I can use good clothes on, okay?
Just come up around 10.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Okay, let's get going.
It's as simple as that, isn't it? You're bored, there's a free house, and availability to the liquor is easy. And that's all it takes. And you have a party, and you have drinking going on. So now it's later in the night, and they've all been at Allison's partying it up for a few hours, and some people are drunk. That's what happens at parties. Some people have also decided not to drink. That was their choice as well. There's all different choices. But sometimes your choice leads to other things, and that's what happens here. At this time, all I'd like to tell you is there's a few questions I'd like you to think about. You don't need to say any answers, it's just for you, and it was done by teenagers in Ontario. I drink to feel comfortable in the social scene. Sometimes I accept dares because I'm drinking. I always get into a fist fight when I'm drinking. I'll have a fight with my boyfriend or girlfriend because I'm drinking. I accept dares because I'm drinking. All of these things, if you answer yes to in your own mind or you think maybe, the chances are you either have or will likely have a problem with alcohol, because it doesn't start when we're 30 or 20. It starts when we're teens. So what's going on now, which is the next night? things have happened overnight, and that's what it's all about.
We are gathered here today in the mourning of a young man, Richard Boyd.
Yeah, sure. Were you drinking with my friend? No, I didn't have anything to drink. But Richard and Trevor were bomb. What? What? How's Richard? No! Mom, he's dead! He's dead!
He was a young man, and now his life has been taken before God.
Life is about choices, and it's your choice to get into the car. Trevor made the choice to drink and drive. And then Richard decided to get into the car with him. At any point, you can make a different choice. Because nobody's going to be with you on a Friday or a Saturday night to make that choice for you, only you. You have to be responsible. If you think you're old enough to drink, then be old enough to know the right decision. You don't get into a car with someone who's drinking. You don't drive if you're drinking. And that's your choice to make. They made the wrong choice. It's up to you to make the right one.
A volunteer appreciation ceremony was held at the Collar Healthcare Center on Monday to express gratitude to the various organizations who volunteered their time to visit and hold events for the chronic care patients who reside at the facility.
My name is Beverly Tedford, and I'm the new Regional Director of Volunteer Resources. And one of the pleasures that I have in this new position is seeing all the wonderful volunteers that come out to the facilities and spend so much time here. I'm going to make my speech very brief tonight because this night is for you, for all your hard work and dedication, which is greatly appreciated. Throughout the next coming months, I'll be coming down to Burgeo, and we're going to hopefully improve some of our things and make some more fun for everybody and the residents. So hopefully I'll get a chance to meet you, but tonight I'll just come around and I'll have a chat with you and you can give me an idea of what you've done and that sort of thing. I'm going to first start off by introducing Rose Staples Payne, who I'm sure most of you know. And Rose has a few words that she'd like to say. Well,
thank you. My pleasure this evening is twofold. First, I want to welcome the members from Western Healthcare Corp who came from across the region to help us celebrate a volunteer night. And we have Catherine McDonald, the ACEO for long-term care. Beverly, you just met, who's the Regional Director for Volunteer Services. We also have Marion and Jenny, who are also with Volunteer Services. And we have some help in the kitchen, Leora, is around there somewhere. And she's the Regional Director for Nutritional Services. So I want to say welcome to these people. And secondly, on behalf of the staff and residents of Calder Healthcare Center, I take great pleasure in welcoming and saying thank you to a very special group of people. And these people are invited guests this evening and are volunteers. Now, I felt that just saying a simple thank you just was not quite adequate enough, or at least I felt, in thanking these people who give so much of their time quite freely. So I asked a very good friend of mine if he could write a poem. And some of you may know him as John Herrick before that, and he was quite generous in doing so. And this is the poem on behalf of the residents and staff of Calder Healthcare Center to our volunteers. And it goes like this. Thank you for the hours you give us of your own time. Thank you for working so hard at times to find us one last time. Thank you for the socials, card games and teas. Thank you for the visits that make our residents so pleased. Thank you for the times we were in need and you eliminated our fears. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being volunteers. Thank you.
next I'd like to say again, you've already been introduced to Catherine McDonald, who's our ACEO of long-term care. Catherine will speak on behalf of the corporation as well as the board.
I must say, before I say a word, that poem that was just read there was wrote by a good friend of ours. And I must say, that's a little bit cleaner than most of what
Yeah, it's a little bit more forceful.
I guess first I'd like to pass on regrets on behalf of Dr. Parsons. I spoke to him this week and he wanted to make sure that I passed on that he would normally be here. He's out of the province this week, so he wanted me to pass on his regrets, but also ensure that you know how thankful he is personally, as well as the corporation, for your volunteer work. When I come out here to Burgeo, it strikes me very strong that there's so much community input and involvement in this facility. You have an absolutely beautiful facility here, and you also have very strong community input and involvement, and I think that's a great combination, so you should be proud of yourself for that. Tonight's your night. I'm not going to say very much more. I want you to enjoy yourself tonight. This is our way of showing you our appreciation. And I want to, regardless of how you volunteer your services, I hope you recognize how much we recognize your input into this facility. Whether it's assisting, I know there were Lions Club members here last year that I remember speaking to, and I know that they're helping residents go to the community. Many of you participate in socials for the residents, and that's extremely important because without your input into the community, into this facility, we could actually have the residents who live here isolated from the community. So it's extremely important that you recognize how important it is to have your involvement here. So on behalf of Western Healthcare Corporation, myself personally, I really want to wish you congratulations on a job well done, and I hope you enjoy the evening. We're going to, for sure, we got to get some staff out there after whoever was responsible for this night's food and everything to thank him. And enjoy yourself. You deserve it.
Stay with us. There's more of This Week in Review, including a court report and a council report, still to come.
Dear Mrs. Coleman, you don't know me, but I know you know my old red house at the end of the lane. Please forgive me for tracking you down, but I had to thank you. I'm not sure what inspired your kindness. Oh, it's a godsend. Since my wretched hip surgery, just getting to the end of the lane and back takes nearly half an hour, and sometimes the pain just isn't worth it. You brought me something much more important than newspapers. You brought me the understanding that it's the small, the simple things that really help people.
If you're doing just a little, you're helping a lot. From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
As a result of the public meeting held by MP Bill Matthews and Mayor Hallister Hann, a committee has been set up by the mayor to see what they can do to get the local fish plant back in operation. I spoke with Mayor Hann about the strategy of the newly formed committee. Speaking with me in the studio today is Mayor Hann. Welcome to our studio, Mayor Hann.
Hi, Dave.
I understand that you have formed a committee from the meeting that you and MP Bill Matthews had at the elementary school a while back. Do you want to tell us briefly first how the idea for this committee came about?
Well, as you know, you attended the meeting there. That's the public meeting between that Bill and myself held at the elementary school gym. And as a result of that meeting, there was a motion made that I would strike a committee of my choice. Is that what you're referring to? So that's how it came about, that I would strike a committee of my choice and to pursue the ongoing discussion with Mr. Barry to see if something cannot be moved forward as far as getting the plant in Burgeo open, and to see if Seafreeze has a future in Burgeo, and if it is, then what is it?
Okay, so can you tell us who you selected to be on this committee?
Oh, yes, Dave. The members of the committee is George Coley. I tried to get as good a cross-section of our town as I could. One of the members is George Coley, and as you know, George is the past manager of the plant. He was the manager, I believe, from the time at the end of National Sea and then on with Seafreeze. So that should give us some continuity as to, from the management perspective of the fish plant. Owen Marsden. Owen is a past executive of the local union, and plus this time he will be wearing the hat of the Burgeo Diversification and Development Board. So he will be representing that board on this committee. Bill Bowes is an inshore fisherman, and Bill will be representing the inshore fisherman sector for Burgeo on this committee. Robert Sims. Robert is presently a member of the executive locally, Burgeo, and will represent the union on the committee. Reverend Barnbarter, he have agreed also to sit on there, which will, I guess, give the encompasses a lot of the people of Burgeo, the general public of Burgeo, and probably in more ways than one could give some credibility maybe to our committee and keep us in line. Mr. George Reed. George is a businessman and will represent the business community of Burgeo, and it's good to see the business community being represented in the activities of our town. Sam Morgan, who is our development officer. Sam will be a member of the committee. Doug Candle, the town manager. Doug has got to be there. He gives continuity to the previous committee, for one thing. And no doubt will be around probably for a while and will give continuity to the committee in the future. And this is one I put on just recently, and that's since our meeting, is Gerald McDonald. And Gerald is on the provincial executive of the union, and I think Gerald is going to be a source of information for us. He's traveling quite extensively between St. Anthony to the south coast. He knows what's going on in other plants, what's being done, and so on. So I think that Gerald, along with representing the provincial FFAW, will also be a good source of information for us. So, having said that, I think we've got a pretty well-rounded group of players on our committee.
Okay, so have you made contact with Mr. Barry yet?
Yes. Shortly after the meeting, I wrote a letter to Mr. Barry, and I've had a response back from him. I'll just go into some of it there. In my letter, I outlined to Mr. Barry how this committee was set up and so on, and I advised him that I would like to have a meeting. I asked for some time before September the 30th. The points which I highlighted to discuss with him was: one, does Seafreeze have a future in Burgeo? If so, what is it? I also said I would like to discuss the inaction regarding our crab license. As you know, we've held a crab license now for approximately 2 years, so that comes in for some discussion. And number 3 was the possibility of a shrimp production in Burgeo. And number 4, when can we expect refurbishing of our plant to begin production? And there's other items as well of which we would like to discuss at that meeting. So I sent this letter to Mr. Barry on September the 14th. And the last paragraph in my letter says, "It was not the intent of the public meeting or of this committee to drive Seafreeze out of Burgeo, but we cannot go through another year with the not knowing. I strongly urge you to meet with us within the time frame stated above, and let's get something going for the betterment of the company and town." So that was my letter to him on September the 14th. And he responded to my letter on September the 15th. He touched on a lot of things, for instance, such as he appears as if he doesn't know how to reactivate the plant. And he says, I have looked and inquired about everything from herring to 3-0 perch to offshore shrimp, and have only seen a dead end from government. Certainly not enough in order to allow the rebuilding of the plant. So he went through the obstacles which is in his way, and you know, some of it seemed as if it was government's fault and so on. And he said, at this point I have no further information to share. I will keep my scheduled meeting of October 17th to analyze the Argentine results and discuss the matter further. So as a result of those 2 letters, we held a meeting on September the 16th. That was our first committee meeting. And I guess what you want to know now is the results of that meeting.
Yeah, if you could just let us know what kind of strategy you've got in place or whatever.
Well, okay, our committee met on September the 16th, and we discussed both my letter, Mr. Barry's letter, and also there's a letter from our MHA, Mr. Bill Ramsey, which I'll touch on before we flew up here also. And we went over it all, and we agreed that, okay, there was no point in getting sticky over the date of September the 30th. If there could be more information available on October the 17th, then the committee agreed they would go along with that date. But having said that, the committee also felt that if we're going to have this meeting, then let's try to get more players at the table. So with that, it was decided that we would try have both the federal and provincial fisheries represented at that meeting. And there would be, we would try have the HRDC plus the Department of Development and Rural Renewal present. And that the meeting would be in Burgeo. And that way we feel that if we can have all the players at the table, then any accusations by one against the other, then they can be answered and taken care of right then and there. So that was the decision of our meeting.
Okay, so has it been agreed that the meeting will be in Burgeo, or?
That is what our committee is saying, and no one have disagreed with it so far. Mr. Reed contacted Mr. Bill Ramsey, who has agreed that he will attend the meeting. Plus, he is setting the wheels in motion to make sure that the appropriate representatives of the provincial fisheries will be at that meeting. I have contacted Mr. Bill Matthews, our MP, and he's agreed to attend the meeting, and will make sure that the appropriate officials will be there to answer questions and so on from that sector. Mr. Sam Organ will be setting up the Department of Regional Renewal and HRDC and these departments to make sure that they're represented. So by and large, we should have everyone there at that meeting.
Okay, this isn't the first committee that's been set up here in Burgeo to meet with Mr. Barry in hopes of getting the plant reactivated. How do you feel about your committee? Do you think that you'll have more success than the committees that have been set up in the past?
I'm not overly optimistic, Dave, to be quite honest. But until we've met on October the 17th, I really cannot give you a true answer on that. I'm pretty sure that after October the 17th, that I'll have some idea whether there's any light at the end of this tunnel or not.
Okay, it was also, I think when the motion was made at the public meeting, it was also said that if Mr. Barry had no intentions of coming back in, that this committee that you set up would try then to acquire the plant from Mr. Barry or find another operator?
that is true. And I believe I've almost passed this on. Do you just wait now? I just checked. Yes, in my letter I says, the final result of the meeting, this was the general meeting, was a motion that the mayor would strike an action committee of his choice. The initial mandate of the committee will be to meet with Mr. Bill Barry and to determine where we are going and when. If sea freeze is not serious, then turn the plant over to the community of Burgeo and let them pursue the possibility of securing another operator and get on with their lives. And that has been communicated to Mr. Barry. In his response, he said he is very committed to Burgeo and so on. Like I say, until we've had a meeting, just how firmly this commitment is, those letters will appear in the Southwest Times. As far as I'm concerned, there's no reason why they can't. And I sort of look forward to getting into this, but I certainly am not committed to ifs, ands, and maybes for 2 or 3 years. I just haven't got that kind of patience or time.
Okay, well, we'd like to thank you for coming in and updating us on the meeting and filling us in on the committee. And we look forward to further updates as you get more involved.
Yes, well, Dave, maybe in all fairness, I should mention the part that with the correspondence I've received from Mr. Ramsey.
Okay.
Mr. Ramsey, he wrote me a letter saying yesterday, and this is September the 11th, he says, I discussed the Burgeo fish plant with the Minister of Fisheries and Aquaculture, Mr. John Efford. Please find enclosed a copy of today's press release issued by me and a copy of the letter to Bill Barry. And Mr. Ramsey said that the province has experienced extremely successful crab fisheries He says, I have discussed the concerns of the Burgeo people and are seeking a meeting with Sea Freeze plant owner Bill Barry so we can get a clear picture of his commitment and plans for Burgeo so that people who are making decisions can make informed choices about their future. Mr. Ramsey said that the province has experienced extremely successful crab catches to date in '98 with landings fully in line with the 45,000-ton crab quota allocations. The province granted a crab license to Burgeo almost 2 years ago and is concerned that Sea Freeze has not taken advantage of the crab processing opportunity for Burgeo. This license was granted to Sea Freeze for the people of Burgeo and to improve the viability of the Burgeo plant as a multi-species operation. The province's commitment to the people of Burgeo is firm and clear. The provincial government will urge Sea Freeze to commit their full effort to make the Burgeo operation a viable and continued operation as a key part of their overall Newfoundland and Labrador operations. The people of Burgeo deserve answers to many questions they are asking about the future of their community in the fishery. We will do whatever is within our power to help those get answers and to make the Burgeo operation as viable as possible. Mr. Ramsey's office today wrote Sea Freeze requesting a meeting to discuss the plans for the fish plant in Burgeo. So it appears to me very much, Dave, that we got the provincial government, the federal government, and everyone on side, and I really cannot see any reason why Burgeo cannot have a viable operation. And so therefore, well, one thing I'd like to just say before I go is that it's about a year now since I was elected mayor of this town, and during the year it hadn't been all smooth sailing. So the other night at the meeting, when there was a motion of confidence, as far as I'm concerned, the motion was a motion also of confidence in my leadership, and to be unanimously passed in that way, it sort of gave me the encouragement to carry on, and I wish to thank the people who was at that meeting for that vote of confidence.
Okay, one final question. I guess not everyone in the community may be totally pleased with your selections, I guess, for your committee, but you stand firm that you think you have the best committee in place.
Well, yes, Dave, I'm quite aware that there's members on that committee that may not just be, I'll say, bosom pals of Mr. Barry's, but they're people who are working for this community, and I mean, if the plant was to open tomorrow, I mean, the whole executive, which is there right now, seems to have a good working relationships with Mr. Barry. So I think they're good caliber people, and if Mr. Barry has got a commitment to Burgeo, I don't think it matters who's on that committee, you know, whether they're good friends or not. It doesn't mean a thing. It's the opening of the plant which is important, and so therefore, and I think these people are committed, and they're going to work hard, and I don't think personalities should fit into it.
Okay, well, like you said earlier, it seems like all the players are on side, so hopefully on October 17th, all the cards will be laid on the table.
Yes, and we'll certainly be trying to keep the people updated as to what's happening, and I really would like to be going into 1999 with some dates targeted for the starting of the refurbishing of the plant, the opening date for the plant, what it's going to open on, and just get over those 2 to 3 years of indecision that's been around so long.
Okay, well, we'd like to thank you for coming in and updating us today.
Thank you, Dave.
Provincial court was held here in Burgeo on Wednesday. Constable McDougall is with us now with the court report.
The provincial court was held again on this past Wednesday, the 16th of September in Burgeo. A total of 16 people appeared to face numerous charges. An 18-year-old female from Ramia pled guilty to 1 count of illegal possession of alcohol. She was fined $50, payable in 60 days. A 16-year-old male from Burgeo pled guilty to 1 count of breach of probation, and a further count of causing a disturbance was withdrawn by the Crown Prosecutor. That matter was postponed to December the 2nd for facts and sentencing. A 16-year-old male from Burgeo pled guilty to 1 count of theft under $5,000 and 2 counts of breach of probation order. He was placed on probation for 12 months in order to perform 45 hours of community service. A 38-year-old male from Burgeo entered guilty pleas on 2 counts of possessing a narcotic. That matter was set over to December the 2nd for sentencing. A 24-year-old female originally from Burgeo was scheduled to enter a plea in relation to a charge of public mischief and a charge of breach of probation. That matter was waived to St. John's for a guilty plea. The date has not yet been determined. A 74-year-old male from Burgeo charged with 2 counts of sexual assault and 1 count of common assault did not appear. The matter has been set over to October 19th at 9:30 in Stephenville to set a date for trial. A 22-year-old male from the Stephenville area did not appear in relation to a number of charges, however had a lawyer appear on his behalf. He entered not guilty pleas to 1 count of impaired driving, 1 count of failure to remain at the scene of an accident, 1 count of possession of a narcotic, and 1 count of violation of probation order. That matter has been set over to December the 2nd, 1998 to set a date for trial. 27-year-old male from Halifax pled guilty to 1 count of causing a disturbance. He was fined $175 with a $25 victim fine surcharge payable in 3 months' time. A 19-year-old female from Stephenville pled guilty to 1 count of breach of probation. That matter has been set over to Provincial Court in Stephenville on October the 19th for facts and sentencing. A 23-year-old male from Burgeo pled guilty to 1 count of possession of a narcotic. He was fined $100 with a victim fine surcharge of $10. A 39-year-old female from Gander did not appear in relation to 1 count of possession of a narcotic. That matter has been set over to December the 2nd for plea here in Burgeo. A 21-year-old male from Harbour-Lacou pled guilty to 1 count of possession of a narcotic. He was fined $300 with the victim's surcharge fine of $30, payable in 6 months' time. A 53-year-old male from Ramia had a lawyer appear on his behalf in relation to 1 count of criminal harassment, 1 count of failing to comply with probation order, 1 count of assault, 1 count of possession of a weapon dangerous to the public, and a further count of breach of probation and a further count of a breach of an undertaking. That matter has been set over to December the 2nd for plea. A 17-year-old male from Burgeo failed to appear in relation to a charge of illegal possession of alcohol and 1 count of breach of probation. A warrant for his arrest was issued. A 26-year-old male who had originally pled not guilty to 1 count of fraud over $5,000 and 1 count of breach of probation changed his plea to guilty. And that matter has been set over to December the 2nd for facts and sentencing at 11 o'clock in the provincial court here in Burgeo. The court will again be held here in Burgeo on December the 2nd, 1998 at 10:30 in the morning.
Councillor Sims joins us now with a report from the last Town Council meeting.
Good evening, everyone. I will now give you a report from the Council's last regular meeting that was held on Wednesday, September the 16th, 1998. As everyone is now aware, the paving project has started and should be completed by October the 20th. Council apologizes for any inconvenience to residents. And I must add that as you go around town, you notice there's lots of ditching being done, forms being put up for the drains and so forth. So we encourage, especially everyone, to have an eye on the smaller kids if they see them playing around those ditches for their safety. After the public meeting on September the 10th, that was concerning the one concerning the fish plant, a committee being formed and a meeting is being set up with Seafreeze and all other parties involved. And the chairperson of the committee, which is our Mayor Alistair Hand, will be giving a report to update what took place since the meeting of September the 10th. Flyers were sent to all householders, and a open panel and phone-in discussion was held on BBS concerning the proposed community/education complex. There was not a lot of phone calls, but what ones that was received was of a positive nature. Nomination day to fill 2 vacancies on council was held on September the 8th. Only one person came forward, and that was Mr. Norm Merson, and he was elected by acclamation. And Mr. Merson was sworn in at our last council meeting. Also, council has decided to hold another nomination day on October the 6th to fill the other seat. So, for the residents of Burgeo, if there's anyone out there that would like to have a voice on the Burgeo Town Council, come forward and throw your name in the hat and join the 6 members that's there now with opinions. And it's not all hard work. There is a bit of laughter involved sometimes, and sit with us and make the decisions for this town, whether they're good or bad. Council is very pleased that 67 former TAG clients have been employed under the 3 projects sponsored by the Diversification and Development Board. Council will be checking to see if there is some project or projects that the town can sponsor so that more people can be put to work. So if there's someone out there that's got an idea that they think should be put forward to the town so the town can check on it and see what they think of it, it might be a good project for the town to go forward and see if they can sponsor such a project and put more people to work. So I say to you, if you have something in mind, give the town a call or drop by the town office with your ideas, and we'll certainly take a look at it. And hopefully that more projects can be created and more people can be put back to work. So thank you for listening. That's all I have for now. We had a very short meeting of our last meeting, and our next meeting is scheduled for the 3rd Wednesday of September, and for anyone out there that would like to sit in on this meeting is more than pleased to do so. Thank you.
Stay with us for Off the Rack, community events, and the BBS Playbill. All that after this.
Fox Unlimited Canada.
Off the rack. The Terry Fox Run was held here in Burgeo earlier today. The run has become an annual event for Burgeo residents. This week as we scanned our tape racks, we came across a video of the Terry Fox Run from 3 years ago. Here's a look back now to September 1995. It doesn't seem that long ago, but this year marks the 15th annual Terry Fox Run. 108 people here in Burgeo came out to participate in the run. These people raised approximately $1,500. This year the Terry Fox Run was held all around the world to raise money for cancer research.
This is the 15th annual Terry Fox Run. It doesn't seem like that long ago, but it was 15 years ago that Terry Fox began his run across Canada. And the run has been held every year in Terry's honor, and all money raised are used in the fight against cancer. There has been very significant gains in cancer research. Although we can't say that cancer has been beaten, we can say there's been serious inroads into cancer. We have made big gains. There are a lot of people living a lot longer today with cancer. So in some form, cancer can be beaten. And we have a little girl here today who's been on Terry's team since she was born on it. You come on up, Tiffany. Okay. Here we have Tiffany's side. Tiffany is a little girl from our own community who's been living with cancer for a long time. She's on Terry Fox's team. She got a special shirt that says Terry's team. She's been on Terry's team for the last five years, 5 runs. And she's going to declare our walk officially open today after I finish one of the spiel. I just want to tell you about the route. We're going to leave here today. We're going to go up towards Missers, around the bottom, we call it, up to Frank's parking lot. There'll be a juice stand sitting up there. To go on down across the bridge, out by Freedom Hands, up by Christopher Way. And then we're going to go on down towards the United Church. There will be a juice stand at the parking lot of the United Church. If you have the energy, you can go on all over the bottom. If not, you can come down by Sharon's convenience store. Leave that to your own judgment. Come on up around to the Bank of Nova Scotia. There will be another juice stand at the Bank of Nova Scotia set up. And then you come on back here to the community center, and you'll get your sticker or your certificate. If it's the first time around, you should have made sure you told the people when you got registered that you need a certificate. Otherwise, you'll get your sticker. I'd like to thank all of you for coming out today. Have fun. Think about cancer. And now, Tiffany, I want you to say that. Terry Fox Run is open. Nice and loud. And away we go.
A boy in a playground just pretending. He wins the game as it's ending. And then instead he hears the crowd standing, cheering, screaming out loud. A spark can turn into a flame. And he swears one day he's gonna play that game. Some will say he's gonna fall flat, but he'll tell you he's better than that. That's what dreams are made of. A little love, hope and desire. Yeah, that's what dreams are made of. Always lifting you a little higher. There's a tomorrow. There's a glimmer of hope. 'Cause that's what dreams are made of. Never let go. A baby stands up hesitating. Mama's arms outstretched and waiting. No one.
Good evening and welcome to the community event segment of tonight's broadcast on Amanda Green. On September the 12th, the local RCMP received complaints that 2 unknown males were trying to entice young girls in the area with offers of ice cream. The general public is asked to reinforce with children the rules of street safety when dealing with strangers. No suspects have been identified in this matter, and the report is not being confirmed. This notice is to serve as a precaution to parents only. Motorists are asked to exercise caution in the area of the hockey rink and the ball field. Some drains and ditches are being dug up which may prove hazardous to motorists. Sorry for any inconvenience. School councils at A.J. Matthews School and St. John Central High are currently accepting nominations to fill 2 parent representatives at each of the schools. Parents or guardians wishing to serve on their council are asked to complete the nomination form sent home and return it to the school by September the 21st. If you did not receive a nomination form, you can pick one up at either of the schools. Voting will take place during the week of September 28th to October the 2nd. The RCMP and Atlantic Engineering would like to advise parents of the danger of children playing around the construction areas where road work is being carried out. Parents are encouraged to keep children away from the work site at all times. If your group or organization has an upcoming event plan, we will be happy to advertise it for you. You can contact the BBS office by Wednesday of each week to have items included in this portion of our broadcast. That concludes the community event segment of tonight's program. See you next week.
BBS Playbill. Tune in on Monday at 7 p.m. for an ABE motivational video entitled Their Personal History. Join us on Tuesday at 7 p.m. for Pansy's Garden. On Wednesday at 7 p.m. we'll have Car Time, a new attitude on board. On Thursday at 7 p.m. we'll have D-Day, the story of the Canadian Assault Troops. Join Pansy and the gang for stories, a craft, and lots of fun Saturday morning, 11 a.m. on Pansy's Garden. And I'll be here again next week with This Week in Review. For This Week in Review, I'm Dave Cooper. Good night.